And
I have.
and what do you do? What do you do? Channel every day on the subject, or just as it is coming up? Do you just, because it
Um,
sometimes just arrives on its own, right? As you know.
I haven't. Yeah, I haven't in a while, but usually Nancy will come through to me, and then I just talk to her. And sometimes we just like I stopped writing things down a while back because she keeps saying the same specific things to me, even though I've researched every place there is in Arizona, probably. But she, like, what I picked up in the beginning was four perps, so three men, one woman. And then when I
Yes.
heard you say five, I said, well, it makes sense because when you came into the scenario doing the readings, by that point, I think there are already more people involved
Yes.
to cover things up.
Yes.
So it made sense because now I'm up to like four original people at the house. One female,
Absolutely.
three men.
Absolutely.
And then
Yeah.
in a couple weeks later, there was another, and then there was another. So
Yes.
now I'm up to like seven people in total involved because of
Okay.
all the covering up.
Yes, and exactly. And okay, this is where I know there's more people, and I agree with you, because if you only count the people that went in and out of the house, or in and out of the car, or in and out of the hostage holding location, there's definitely a crew of four, including a minimum of one woman. So I believe that you and I kind of agree on that. Where the extra perps add up, I think there's still one perpetrator that has never, ever, ever been on location. Okay, he's the original initiator. So I think that's why we don't always count him at the house, because he's smart enough to never be there. Okay?
Yep.
Right? So that's where five people would come in right there if you count that other perp that's not on location. And then I must admit, I got to do more videos this week. I've been promising people. I have so much more information on the woman. I channeled amazing information on the woman. And I don't know if you've gotten where they took her, what style, but I'm convinced it's ranch style. And it could include ranching with respect to cattle, even. I don't know if that's true. In Arizona, you would actually have a lot of cattle, but it could also be horse ranch, because we got amazing amounts of symbology for horses, horses, horses. Okay, so I'm going to drink to that.
So here's something interesting I'm going to point out. Over by where the Relito River, the main, we call it the Bat Cave. It's like the Bat Bridge. JLR went searching there.
Okay.
If you go down towards like, I don't know what you want to call it. You'd say go down south. But if you go north where he was one day, there's a big mural in that wash of a horse on the wall.
Okay, was that when he was up near Marana?
Yes, I believe so.
Yes, I think they were close to Marana when they were looking that day. Okay, interesting. They also reported, I believe it was that day I found out that prairie dogs really are seen in that same area. And Nancy told me from the very first visitation that her body could be found. It's in the desert, but it could be uncovered. It could be uncovered very easily because of prairie dogs. So I would love that to happen.
Wait, she said prairie dogs?
Yes, she said prairie dogs would uncover her body. That's why I think everybody's focusing on going down there now. I think prairie dogs are going to, I mean, you know that I've learned they don't eat human, they don't want to consume human, but they are diggers, right? And people have confirmed that they truly are in that region. And Arizona people have commented on my YouTube that definitely they're spotted. Definitely, definitely. So, and I always say, look, a human might not witness a prairie dog do that. Okay, so we may never know that that's really what's happened, but it's a very interesting thing to be told by Nancy, right? Because as you know, the dead know everything about their own burial, right? The deceased will tell you. So I find that part is really fascinating for me, to be honest. So
And she told me she's under wild bush. I call
exactly,
it briar bush.
I agree.
But she's not really
In the
like
ground,
buried.
exactly. They couldn't go deep. They can't go deep. That's why. That's why it would be easy for the prairie dogs to uncover it, because maybe they're just moving desert brush. I see desert brush.
And I call it
Exactly.
wild brush. In fact,
Yep.
I have a picture of it. So
Yep. Good for you. I love it. I love it. I love it. And how, okay, so when did you start first getting your information on where she was? My first day was March 26th in the visitation, when she came into my home. She came into
February
my home.
7th.
So you got
My first
stuff
conversation
right
there
away.
was, well, February 6th, technically, when I went to bed, I had a dream, and then February 7th, and then I did my first post February 8th. I went to a friend's shop to do mediumship that day. That morning I was late because I woke up and she stopped, so I just started writing. So I go and I looked at my friend Kim and I was like, I can't stay. She's like, why? I was like, I don't know. There's this old woman. She's driving me back. I can't concentrate on any other spirits but her right now. I know my limitations. I have to go home. She's like, Mandy, I need you here. I was like, I don't know, but this lady won't leave me alone. And I can't shake her. And she keeps saying Savannah. And then Kim goes, well, this Nancy went missing and Savannah's like famous. I'm like, who's Savannah? I don't watch the news. I'm like, who's Savannah Guthrie?
Same here. I did not know the family either. I don't watch them. And I'm from Canada, way up here. I live in a beautiful, out of the way place. And I do not watch TV either. So I honestly did not know this family either. Not.
So I went home. I drove like a bat out of heck. Went home because I had to write it down. I had nothing to write it down. And I'll never forget it. Like, I was like, where is it? I have the first writing I ever, like, I was losing my mind. Like, this is one of them.
Oh, thank you, Jean Marie. Thank you, Jean Marie, for saying that.
She goes, different colored pens. And then I got all these different colored pens and nothing made sense.
Oh, my goodness.
She has me drawing. Like, she's like, Relito River. Like, I'm like,
I love
what
it.
is the Relito River?
I love it.
And then I'm trying to find the one where she draws me right, like where she originally kind of was put for safekeeping and then moved. And she was like, I
agree. I didn't see that in the beginning. Different readings revealed different information.
You want to see the most ghetto drawing ever? So, and this is where I did this on February 8th. And then I met Linda that night, talked to her on the phone the next morning on the 9th. And then Linda made her first post on the 10th. But I showed her my map. So this is what's really interesting. Here's my map, and I'm sticking to it. Like, there's the house area. And then I had them going...
Oh, yes, okay.
I had them going left and then right. I'll never forget it. And then this is where she had me draw where she was. And I wrote wild bush. And it's like a little bit of water, not much. And I kept calling them sand dunes, like the 3 dunes. And this is the original where she said, because they're like, there's my house, there's the road.
We do see a little bit of water ourselves, my sister and I. There's just a little bit of water.
Yeah. And I even wrote a little bit of water somewhere on here.
Yes.
Little bit of water.
Yes.
So this is on the 8th. She's driving me nuts. Like, I couldn't find a notebook. So I went and got this printer paper out of a box. And then I ripped up some poster board and just started writing on poster board until
you do your mediumship like I write my songs. My songs, you know what I do? I write my songs on the back of my hydroelectric bill, because I look at that and there's something good at least that happens because of that hydroelectric bill. Like, I'll like my song or something. So
I know. And then I left little pieces of paper. Like, I don't think I slept in my bed for 2 weeks. I slept on this annoying love seat. I would keep these little pieces of paper. Why did Annie call? Like, really? I wake up at 2 a.m. Why did Annie call? Back to bed. And like half these are written when I woke up because she wouldn't stop. And I'll never forget when she first came to me. I thought it was a dream. So I wake up and there's this elderly lady glowing and she's like, hey, kid. I'm like, what? She's like, I'm a little lost over here. Can you help guide me home? I'm like, who are you? Like, what's going on? She's like, they took me out. And I just kept going, huh? And she's like, help me get home.
Oh.
So she wouldn't go in the crystal. So that's why I had to go home, because it wasn't until February 11th that I finally got her to go home. Otherwise, she was following me everywhere I went. So I just stayed home because she wouldn't stop. Like, I'd get my truck and the radio was going bonkers. Then she was playing oldies. Like, I was like, why are all these oldie songs coming on? Like, I don't even like this kind of music.
Interesting.
So she just kept poking at me. And she's like, you're excitable and hyper. You'll figure this out. I can't talk to other people that'll just go to sleep on me. I was like, stop.
It's good though.
So I made posts.
Yep. Good for you.
And then I met that girl and Lila Bear, and that's how I met half the people on here. And I just couldn't stop. I was making like 4 or 5 posts a day, and then she would say, I need you to do 5 posts on this. And then finally I was like, Nancy, like, can you find a couple more mediums to talk to? Because
that's probably why I came in, because even when I saw it originally come up on TikTok, that's when I learned about it. And it kept repeating on TikTok. So I was like, this must be big. But I'm telling you, even when I looked at it, I realized, whoa, there was such a psychic force field around it that I couldn't even attempt. So by March 26th, that's pretty wild, because I wouldn't have expected to get information about that, but it is fascinating.
She got moved.
Yes.
She got moved, and I started getting confused.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, this is what I've got. Hey, okay, let's compare notes. Okay, this is what I got with respect to, let's first of all go back to the house. Okay, because I call it, perp number, if you've watched my videos, I keep referring to perp number 3, because when I've received visions one by one, as you know, it's never in the right sequence. It will just come in and you have to figure out the sequence of the timeline later. So, you know, perp 3 showed up in my later visions. I kept seeing perp 1 and 2. She kept showing me definitively 2 people were in her home. And the way that she was showing that is, I literally, first of all, I'm telling you, it was like a shamanic visit into her home. I was doing Reiki and I wanted to see, you know, remote viewing my clairvoyant abilities. And I went right there, and I'm telling you, it was so shamanic, because I realized, oh my God, I believe I was right there in her home, going backwards in time. I saw her on the couch. And what was wild when I saw her, I saw that it was a white couch. And remember, I didn't know anything. I didn't even know they really had a white couch. I found out that they really have a white couch, that she did.
Really? How did you find out?
Pictures on the internet. Pictures on the internet that was on Drunk Turkey page. There was one day that he put, there's a YouTuber called Drunk Turkey. He had amazing photos on the entire inside of her home. Okay. Okay. And here's the other thing. Okay. And the reason I wanted to do all my videos is, I do this all the time for local cases that I have never gone public on. Okay. But what ends up happening, I work behind the scenes, and by the time we've explored where the dead person told me to go, who they said really killed them, we've been able to corroborate. Okay. So like, I really do, I've done this already. So working on Nancy, I already have this kind of schematic that I will always like to do with cases, right? And so I have all sorts of things. So sometimes the information comes from the actual dead person. And sometimes, as you know, we have helpers that give us tidbits as well, because they have access to the all-knowing. Same thing.
Yeah.
So, so going back to what she was showing me on the couch, it was just like, ooh, there are some things I'm not just getting from my teacup and I see it in the tea. I'm really getting it either from her or a spirit. So in this case, I know it was her. And I could see her on that couch, and it almost gives me the willies, because I could see that she was already sedated. Okay. I believe she was sedated in her bedroom. And this is why I always say 2 people were directly in that bedroom, because she shows me one at the bed with her, and the other one is standing in the doorway, blocking the doorway. And when I read that person's mind in the doorway, they are used to locking down a room with people in it, and it reminded me of when someone's in sex trafficking or
Yes,
okay
that's what I picked.
okay so
It's exactly what you're saying.
so perp 1 and 2 would be family members who know each other. The taller one is standing in the doorway while they're trying to sedate Nancy. And the mission is like sedate her in that bedroom. No one's leaving the bedroom until she's sedated. Then they put her on the couch that I see her on. And that's when I know that 2 people are still in her kitchen. And when I'm doing that little shamanic visit and looking at it from the inside, she keeps showing me in my head this square room. And because I never had seen photos, it's almost like she was trying to tell me where they could still get DNA. I know that they were in the kitchen. And if you look at the photos, the kitchen is actually open concept. It's in the middle of the room, it looks like. And there's a sink.
That's where I had it.
Well, the sink is at one end towards the back of the house, but then that kitchen stretches open concept all the way to the garage door. And I claim that she did come in the garage door. I hear a click, click when she gets into the house. And she would still enter and turn to her right to get to the kitchen sink. But she shows me, and that kitchen sink photo, there's a photo with her and Savannah with a little laptop near the sink. There's a photo that's in the media. And I believe Nancy's bedroom is adjacent to where that sink is, because when you see that photo, you can see into a bedroom behind that. And for the square room... And check it out.
That's what I had.
Okay, and check it out. I found
out.
I found out there's a square room that, okay, whatever door they really came in, the back door, even though there were many doors available, and even though there was no forced entry for the back doors, there really was no forced entry on any one of those. But what I did learn, if it's true, they went through whatever the laundry door is, the laundry room door, and I wondered if that's the square room that she might be showing me, because it's almost like she just keeps showing me that she knows they're in the kitchen talking on comms. She called it comms. And she also showed me that they were not in the house when she got home. No way were they in the house. She shows me, because I went step by step visually with her, like walking through the home, asking, do you feel them? Do you know they're in the home? Are they in any other room? And she kept saying no, 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 no. And I got this distinct impression, even if perp 1, the door camera person, even if that dude or woman was on the property or in the neighborhood, I was told that they were still waiting for perp number 2. So they might not have arrived together. They might have arrived one before the other, knowing that it was still going down. So she gave me the impression, honestly, I don't feel they were in the house. They were just waiting for her to be ready. Okay, so apparently there's a door with the laundry.
I have the laundry room over here by the garage, adjacent to another bedroom, and then her bedroom.
Okay.
Her bedroom's off the living room, right? Open concept kitchen, living room.
It is hers by the kitchen? Is it her bedroom by that kitchen sink?
Yeah, it would be by this kitchen sink.
Okay, I would agree.
Right,
okay, I believe that's true.
Sink over here.
Yes,
and
yes.
the living room right here.
Yes, okay,
So
exactly.
So like where her bathroom would be kind of by that sink.
Okay, well
The
then,
kitchen sink.
yes, so somehow they made it maybe through that laundry door room, and but she definitely was moved to the couch, and you can see in other photos that the couch is adjacent to the open concept kitchen. You can, yep, it is.
That's what I have. I have it exactly on the wall. So like if the living room were here, I have it exactly on the wall. It would have been right there.
Yep.
With an end table next to it.
Yep. I know, and I kind of see a coffee table in front of it, and she's already got zip ties on her hands and her legs, on her feet.
Okay.
And then why I knew that there's a third guy is because she's showing me this blow by blow, right? What I do is I tune in, I hold on to that scene, And I just wait for more and more details. Details. Like, I even feel that she's wearing a two-piece pajama outfit that is navy blue. Okay? That's what I see.
I got flannel pants and navy blue shirt on top. Exactly.
I see navy blue, maybe white piping. Call me crazy. It's almost like that. Navy blue with maybe some piping, but same thing. A two-piece. Call me nuts. So those are the kind of details. But okay, going back to why I know that I was adding up. Oh, there's not just two people in the house. Wait a second, because she's saying that there's this other person on the comms. They are talking to the two people in the kitchen are talking to that person. That's how they were able to orchestrate the car. That's how, and think of it. If they knew a pickup car, getaway car was coming, you don't want it idling in the driveway as if you're a Uber waiting for your ride. You're like, you are ready, right? Like, you've got her really ready. Are you really, really ready? Yeah. And I also think DNA would be on the inside of the door if there was a peephole, or on whatever way they were looking out the front door. There would be total DNA in the kitchen. And if whatever that square room, if the laundry room is square, they were hanging out there too. So I would say those are hot spots. The couch would be hot spot because they had to manhandle her off the couch. If there is a coffee table in front of it, all of it, because where did the zip ties go on? They just needed her to be sedated. If they got her sedated enough that she couldn't muscularly fight them, right? Because there's many forms of sedation, right? Maybe you just can't move, right? But I know her eyes were open and she was not unconscious. She was just sedated to that groovy feeling.
Well, they gave her a roofie, meaning the date hard, where you're waking
I know.
conscious, can't move.
I know, exactly. Okay. I know. Which would make sense with sex trafficking, correct? You're using that to transport.
Watch your words or TikTok. It's bad. So we'll just say Rex and Ref.
Okay, then. Okay, yeah, we'll call it Raffy, that works.
Okay.
Raffied. So, okay, for that Raffy industry, I'll tell you how many times it came up in the readings for us where we weren't quite sure what their industries were, because think of it, if there's more than 4 people, they all have their day lives, okay? They don't all work at the same tortilla factory. Maybe they have different jobs, okay? Yep. Right?
Yeah.
So, and honestly, I don't believe the originating perpetrator in this, initiating perp, I don't think he lives in Tucson. There's no way that guy's from Tucson. The crew might have been hired from across the border for all we know, because listen, I know people were worried about me saying Mexican as opposed to Hispanic, but I definitely, I don't want to point fingers and make anybody.
I'm not worried about that.
But hey, I have a lot of Mexican friends, and I dance with the Mexica. I'm actually a firewoman with the Mexica. Really? Yeah, I'm seriously an ordained firewoman, authentic from the Aztec dance. I know dances, fire, everything. And I'm telling you, I just want to say that I know Mexico, okay? I know Mexico. It's my heart. So I'm not trying to say it's a horrible thing, but I know it's not a cartel hit. I know it isn't. But I believe members of the cartel were hired to do this job on the side, even though it wasn't ordered by the cartel. That's what I believe. There are cartel players that just took a side job. Okay? That's what I believe. And that's why I do believe that they could be Mexican, directly from Mexico, that could be involved in this. And I believe that the woman, I don't know if you see nationality of the woman. I'm darn good at getting nationality. And I really believe that the woman involved in this is definitely a Mexica Mexicana. Okay? And chica.
What's Mexica?
Mexica is what we call the Aztec dance. It's the true tribes of Mexico, like from the Nahuatl people and the Aztec dance. There's a whole, it's Mexico, but we say Mexica. If you were to look at how you spell Mexico, you would take the O off and put an A. And when you're talking about the Mexica of Mexico, it's the dancers, it's the warriors who are dancing the Aztec dance and praying to those directions, and honestly, like holding that torch of spirituality, where that's a movement. It's not just a,
You didn't get a name like Isabel or something, did you?
With that woman, no, but I haven't gotten her name, but I definitely feel that she is something connected to what we were talking, that industry where sometimes people have higher end women that can get hired, if you know what I mean, and they do that willingly. It's not like they're chained up. They're willingly in that industry. I believe the woman could be in that industry. Maybe she was a madam, like organizing other women.
You said madam, and just commented madams right as you said that.
Exactly, she could be, and I think that she would be smart enough woman to want to be the woman running the women, as opposed to be the one feeling she's enslaved to that industry, right? Like, I'm not gonna, like, I gotta, so somewhere, I think that could potentially be even the way that she knows the perp 3 on communications, because think of it. Maybe, I believe this is oddly enough a well-off individual that has been used to money, and his status is slipping, and he designed this to get money, and he wants Bitcoin. He knows very much and very well about Bitcoin. So I have to wonder if the organizer of this maybe went to this woman on the side, if you know what I'm saying. Maybe she was his side thing. And this is what happens when men, classy men with money who like a side thing, willing to purchase it, right? Maybe you have a favorite over the years because she knows how to treat you so right, and
you're pretty good at those accents.
You know what it's like when we are lovers, or we end up in, those willing compromising positions, you have a little bit of pillow talk, even if you don't let all your secrets out of the bag. So even if you're not boyfriend and girlfriend, maybe you just know a little bit about what you're doing. And that's what's wondering in my head. Could they simply know each other from paying for services, but they've become, hey, if you have long-term clients, you know what that's like. You got a history.
We have a question for you.
Okay.
Why would an old lady be a target for people like this?
Okay, and this is what I say, how I want to split hairs. Nancy, I swear, is not the target. Okay, when I do my little investigation with my clairvoyant abilities, because as you know, mediumship is slightly different, of course, right? You're really talking to someone dead. Clairvoyant, you can turn on and look at anything, right? So when I keep asking on a clairvoyant level to all the spirits that have the knowing of this, I kept asking, what's really in their head, and like, really, what is in their head? Because that's where you get their real intentions, right? You can read, it's like literally reading their mind. You've just read their secrets in there. They're all in there. So I went into Perp 3 because now I see him as a Caucasian. He is definitely not from Mexico. He's from the US of A, but not from Arizona. I don't think he's in Arizona. Okay,
is this the guy at the doorbell or no?
The guy on communications, that what I call Perp 3, I think he lives outside of Arizona. And what was important about him? Like, just all the details I keep getting. I still think, okay, so he and the woman might know each other. And then she agrees, hey, if you want to take this job on, because he's saying, look, I need some money, I think it's because status is slipping. And he starts, when I see it in his eyes, and I'm looking at, what did you do to move your world? What were you doing to move this world? And what I see is his status is slipping. He's worried about money. How do I get money? I gotta get money. Oh, look, the Guthrie family. They have money. And that's where I think this dude somehow knows Michael. Okay? And I think he's somehow in Michael's...
Are you talking about Savannah's ex-husband, right?
Oh, no, current husband, Michael Feldman.
Oh. Oh.
Okay, so my perspective when I'm looking at the Perp 3, remember, and I'm in his head, and he's going, I got to get money. I got to get money. I need more money. What he sees is he sees Michael and Savannah. So that's why I say he has to know Michael and Savannah. This dude doesn't know Nancy first at all. This dude somehow knows Savannah, but more particularly, I believe it's Michael, because that was one of the things Nancy herself definitely gave me through a photograph that I saw on YouTube one night, just watching all the YouTubers, investigators, right? And there was her photo, and she told me the name Michael. And here's the thing, again, I didn't know anything about the family. In that early moment, it was the first week I was channeling stuff. She gave me the name Michael, and the impression telepathically that she gave me was, Michael knows the perpetrator. He's not the perpetrator.
So Michael isn't Michael's the ex. Mark is her current husband. Michael is the bad ex that used to hurt her.
Are you serious? I thought Michael Feldman was the current one that he has, that she has children with right now.
Let's see.
I thought that's her current husband. Are you sure?
One of them is an ex and one of them is current. I never picked up the current. I've always felt it was Michael is her husband.
Michael is the current husband. Okay, yes, exactly. But here's the thing. Yes, but here's the thing. And that's why I always say I'm not accusing anyone in the Guthrie family. What I want to make clear is when I heard that telepathic information from Nancy, she specifically said Michael is not the perpetrator. Somewhere in his world, the perpetrator found him. Okay, so it would be an investigative starting point. You'd have to be looking at his 6 degrees of separation. And when I found out that he's also in communications, what do you think that made me feel like? Because he is in communications. He owns communications conglomerates. Okay, and
her husband does? I don't know much about her husband.
Well, I looked up it because right after I said, oh, it's someone with the name Michael that might know something, thanks to commenters on YouTube, immediately people were saying that's Savannah's husband. So I looked him up, and that's what I found incredible. He's in communications. So let's go back to Perp 3, where I say, I know Nancy says they're on comms, they're on communications. Perp 3 is a communications expert. How did he know to bring all of this? Look what they did to the cameras. They blew out the cameras that only faced the driveway, not the ones on the side of the neighbor's house across the street. They knew, look how every device went off, right? They know what they're doing with communications and devices, period. So when I found that Michael is connected to communications, that's a red flag for me, saying this information must be legitimate and true. So that's where I just feel like, wow. So
Michael was Hillary Clinton's scrubber. Did you know that?
I do know that. I do know that. And I know, like, what incredible timing. Savannah was also a voice for Epstein survivors, and then you've got her husband being the scrubber for the Clintons, who were definitely on the island, believe it or not. So all of that would be honest.
They're bad people. No.
Well, exactly. Listen, you know what's crazy? If someone planned this that truly wasn't connected to them, knowing that that was already in play, okay, she was speaking out for the survivors. And also Nancy Guthrie was in a lawsuit with, I can't remember what corporation, but big ass shit was sorry, big stuff was going on. Okay, well, I won't though. I'm sorry. Yeah, but big things. She was supposed to be some kind of witness in a civil corporate lawsuit. Okay, where she was also whistleblowing practically. So with that, with the Clintons and with the Epstein survivors, those I'm sorry, those are three avenues that you could legitimately say.
Nancy was doing, and why would Nancy do a documentary on Epstein?
No, it wasn't Nancy. No. She was going to be a witness and a whistleblower in a corporate lawsuit, nothing to do with Epstein, nothing to do with the Clintons. It was her own problem.
The native tribes with the ground or something that was not good or something with the native tribes.
Oh, that I don't know, but whatever it was, all I'm saying, look at it. Three things you could legitimately say, like maybe the corporation wanted her gone. But all I'm saying is that's still not what I ever got. But I'm saying great timing for the kidnappers because there's enough confusion, period. And then you walk in and kind of go, was it Epstein related? Was it Survivor related? Was it et cetera, et cetera? So anyway, every channel we've ever done, my sister will do some tuning in with me to kind of go, am I on the right page? And then she'll get the same thing. And it's like, yep. And we definitively say, absolutely no way, family. No way. This is beyond family. They targeted, they could see through Savannah and Michael, there's money. And then the thought is, okay, like the guy seeing, they got the money. But the next thought is, how do I extract that money from this family? Oh, why don't we take the old lady? That's how Nancy comes in. Okay, so she's the way they can extract the money from the family. That's the way this was going to go down. And, you know, every time we read it, the two people in the house, we think they're burglars who decided to kind of go, hey, you know, if they're truly from Mexico, everyone from Mexico, this is legit. I have like diehard real friends right from Xochimilco to Coyoacan, and we will say, you know, we love Mexico, but it can be the most dangerous place on the planet too. You got to be careful. And there's stuff that, you know, I don't know, man. I don't know why I was picking that up, but sorry, and I'm off the topic, so maybe I'm not supposed to talk about it.
Oh my gosh, yeah, just go with it, whatever you want to say.
Well, I still kind of say there's something going on with like this Mexican crew. That's what I keep wanting to say. It was a handful of Mexican crew that did this kidnapping, and because they're really not kidnappers, but they could be in that Raffy industry period because that does make money, right? They could have just do that as, remember we were using that.
Oh, yeah.
That industry. Sorry, that we were going to use that as the traffic industry.
The Raffy, yes.
Okay, so let's say again that if they really were in that traffic industry, okay, okay, so you know, and they're burglars, right? I know that Perp 1 and 2 for real are like career criminals one way or another, but only one of them has ever been arrested. Okay, that's why even if they get good DNA, only one's been arrested anyway. So, yeah, so it does get wild to think of how many people were involved.
Yeah. And I've never really focused a lot on the Perp, although I have gotten messages. Like, I know that from what she told me, there was her hearing aids were in the bathroom, and she passed out or something, and something about one of the hearing aids fell under the couch.
Oh.
And she kept talking about the hearing aid going under the couch, and she kept talking about DNA being on the coffee table. And
oh, good. That's what I would say. Coffee table. There, I saw the coffee table.
DNA being on the washer and dryer, DNA and sweat being on the floor in the laundry room, and then a ton of DNA over by the front door.
I would agree. Because they had to be spotting for the car. They were spotting for the car. So they're looking out a window like this, right? And breathing on the window. Yeah.
Now, here's another thing nobody, did DNA on, and I think that they were dumb.
Okay.
To not. But they said that there was DNA by two of the perps on the mailbox because they were looking to see if she had any mail.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. I definitely got that hit with the couch and the coffee table, because it would have been so easy for them, to be banging their own shins even from the clothing they wore on that coffee table. So yeah, okay, so going back to where I think she's being kept, and a really cool thing happened. Okay, I keep seeing that it's ranch style property, and I know that that's almost like, yep, we're in Arizona. There's a lot of ranch style property, I would imagine, right? And people have horses, like practically everyone has horses. So to say that a horse is connected is sort of like, okay, well, lots of places with horses, but it is still significant nonetheless. I saw people wearing cowboy boots, so I do wonder if a couple of the one or two perps are comfortable in cowboy boots or need to wear them doing ranching, for instance. When I see her being held, it reminds me of like barn, like it looks like a barn, and you can see the daylight through the slats of the wood. Whoops, sorry about that. So I can see, like, when you just see daylight coming through, where and I believe that they did keep her on a bed. I believe that one woman watched her there, though my impression is that two of the male perps are on and off the ranch. They're not always there. Okay, but they have some kind of outbuilding where it's like, this will work, let's put her here. I hear horses, so they've at least got to have one horse, if not more, because I keep hearing horses. We also kept feeling that there might be a little bit of water in this area as well, like a small amount of water. And but we have seen in a reading that we did in May that I'm of the believer that she would have triggered her own death, believe it or not, in that barn. And here's why. I believe she showed me specifically, there were two times she's appeared to me wearing white. It was back to back. One was on the Thursday, one was on the Friday. And on the Friday, man, she was so close to me. I'm telling you, like, she was this close. And and she was showing me as if I could see it. Like, she was saying, these two people are taking me with them. And I've always wanted to die in my own home. So what I was getting from that statement is that she was making her first assessment of whether she was going to fight to die in her own home. Because if she went with them, you know how difficult that gets to find a body. That gets 17,000% higher, and harder. So for the love of Pete, I feel like that was her first. So when everybody's looking at what really happened on the threshold of her doorway, why the blood, all of that stuff, it is what I feel just so simple is, even with whatever that sedated in like stuff was, whatever was still in her, she was conscious enough, and she must have known how critical. So could she fight? I think she could have at least been going, I'm not going. And I think she triggered that fight. I don't feel that they meant to punch her out. They just wanted to get her out. And I believe she gave them the fight of a life right in that doorway. So it would not surprise me if the doorway's if there's blood on the inside of the doorway as well, because she was like, I'm not going, Plus, I think she could have been punched in the face if they were, or the face still got injured because she took them off guard. Either way, that was that. And I would agree, blood comes from the head at that point. But as I put all my little visions together, by the time she does get out alive. And then maybe they do sedate her more in the car. FBI say that from the pacemaker data. She's been sedated in the car. And I say, you guys might be lying to just see if a perp ever confesses with the information you truly know, which is you should have the information. She was sedated in her bedroom, not in the car. You can't tell me people are going to wait to get her. Are you serious? You're going to not sedate her going over that threshold and wait till she's in the car while she can scream to anybody and try? No, you're sedating her in the home. And so by the time they get her up to that second property, though, same thing. I think there's only one woman that's really in charge, even if the two guys are on and off, because whenever I see the scene where she's in this barn and this woman is taking care of her, I do see the woman wearing white, so it does make us wonder if she has a nursing background on any level. There's multi-levels in the US, so she could be one level of a nursing with this access to drugs. You never know. But that's where I think it went wrong. There are two guys that kind of are in the parameter, so I think they could live there maybe, you know, distance away. But the woman was really the one that was supposed to be really watching Nancy. And I think even if they sedated her through those days, I think she took the opportunity during a sedation, because they must have been sedating her more than once a day. You have to realize if they needed her just sedate until they got the money, that would have been around the clock sedation, right? Right? And they can't have her running out the door. So I believe what she did at that second location, and think of this, and this is why it could make sense. If Nancy was not the target, okay, she would know. Okay, she's just been kidnapped by them. She's listening to them, okay, even if she doesn't have her hearing aids. My mom can hear certain things even without her hearing aids. It just depends on how bad you are and how close they are if you don't have them, okay? And you can also feel things from what the freak is going on in your parameter, right? A victim is in hypervigilance. So I think you know darn well what is about to happen, right? Plus, no, like she's probably out of body, right? And getting information from her spirit to kind of know, shoot, yes, bleep, bleep, this is serious, right? So can you imagine what's going on in her head? And then this is what I think happens. Okay, because she's not the target, right? She's not the target, but she knows they want money from the family. Okay, if it's Annie, what the heck? If she knows these people have nothing to do with her family, that it's not Nancy they really want the money from, would it make sense that she looks at that whole picture and says, you want to do this to my family? How dare you? I am Mama Bear. I am not letting you take from my family. This ends here. Look at my age. I've lived a good life. I even saw all my family tonight. They were kind to me. You know, we have troubles, but there's a lot of love in that family. So I believe she assessed it because they still would have come for her family. And I believe she used a sedating moment to just screw things up, right? Because all she needs is enough strength to jar if they're trying to sedate her with a needle. And what blew me away is in the first visitation, when she was standing there in front of me in spirit, she pointed to her left hand distinctly, and she showed me that was a puncture wound. And when they find the body, they will see blood-soaked clothing in the grave with her. There's blood in that grave. So
yeah, the perp's blood too.
Well, what's interesting is she showed me that I believe is the true way that she died. I believe she bled out for all of this horrible things that happened to her. And I believe there were numerous from the front door onward. These guys were just sick. So numerous times she was harmed. And I think that final sedation is her going, guess what? get lost. I've had a good life. This is ending right here. All she needed to do is make sure that that left hand is punctured. I didn't know she had a vascular problem.
And she was on blood thinners.
Well, and have you seen the photos of that vascular hand? I saw it on Nancy Grace, and it blew me away. They showed. Oh yes, I'll have it and I can post it later for you. What is incredible is I found out after Nancy Grace had a special, and it was funny. It was a special that she had where they were going over the zany mediums and psychics on TikTok, literally, and they were showing some of the zany people doing Nancy Guthrie readings, and they were kind of going, "What the heavens? What the heavens? All these clairvoyants." And her guest was saying, and then guess it. It's funny because Nancy Grace, I can't remember the gentleman she had on, but he's cool. I've seen him on there before. I'm bad with names, sorry about that. But she was saying, what do you think of all these psychics and clairvoyants on TikTok? Like, do you think a medium ever could solve this? And good on him. This is what he said. He goes, if any clairvoyant could package this up in a nice package, we'd look at it. And we're not against them solving it, And you know what? I actually think it could be more on the mediumship level, that it is the mediums that could solve this, quite frankly. So, and maybe this is happening with a Christian woman, even with a beautiful healing, religion and spirituality kind of finding the same truth, because we all want the same prayers here for Nancy, right? I feel that there's something at play spiritually on that level. She's a Presbyterian, I believe. So different forms of Christianity are either way, tolerant of mediumship, or will have a closed door with it, or they'll at least not judge you on this, or they'll respect that there's many people with gifts from God, right? So I feel like that could be a really interesting way. Like, have you ever seen as many psychic mediums on any case? Why is this one the riveting case that people want to follow? I think, of course, her age.
A lot of them are trying to get followers.
Many are what?
Trying to get followers. I think that's why we see so many psychics on here. Some of the psychics on here.
Oh, of course. Right. But it would be cool if the medium solved it, don't you think? Because we get the information.
And we don't all pick it up the same either.
No, exactly.
It's like putting together a puzzle.
Uh-huh.
And I've always said that to people. It's not like it's that easy. Like, we're talking to people that are light years ahead of us, and some of them are just shooting symbols that are minds. Like, we have to understand that if I saw a cribbage board, it's not going to mean, they were playing cribbage. It might be identifying with something else, like there's a board on top of me wherever I am. Mm-hmm. It doesn't always come through very, that clear.
I know. Well, listen, I'll give you a great example on the first case I worked on here in my city, the closest city to me, Peterborough, in Canada. I did the reading for the police. They asked me to do readings for cold, unsolved, and we're going back to 1983, okay? And this was in 2000. Sorry?
The police in Canada did this?
Yeah, they hired me in Peterborough because they were doing a task force to try to take on unsolved, like really old files from 1983.
That's awesome that your cops do that.
Well, they're willing to.
USA is so different.
Well, you know what? I got lucky because one of the cops happened to be a client, and I'd read him 10 years earlier, and every single thing I predicted came true. It gave him the willies. Every single thing. So he thought of me because he was on that task force. So, and it was divine. It timed, and it was divine planned, because I'm telling you, the reading that I did, the woman's name is Marilyn Ann Neely, and just to keep it brief, we had a half-hour reading. It turned into several pages transcribed, because I transcribed it for the police. She gave us certain clues with the perpetrator, certain clues with the company he worked with, and then other clues with respect to where her body was. And what is incredible is this is one of the clues, as simple as it was. I am near a bridge. Now,
Oh, got it.
okay, but you know what? There you go. It's better to, at least you know, okay, well, she didn't say I am near a fire station. Okay. She said I'm near a bridge. But how many, but you know, I started asking questions. Are you 5 minutes from the bridge? Are you 5 inches from the bridge? Are you beside the bridge? Or are you 10 feet from the bridge? Can you see it? So, but we still used it as one of our markers. So we would only search an area. We had to narrow it down, right? And we just narrowed it down to any place that has a bridge, we're going. And it worked. And it took on and off. We didn't search continually because we have winter and problems and a lack of resources. But I'll tell you, it took me 13 years to find the location. And she is a 12-minute walk from a bridge.
They found her then.
I found her. We're trying to prove it. We've got ground penetrating radar. I found the site because I was warned by a spirit. If I keep searching for her, just keep searching, spirits will appear to me where they're buried. So when I finally found it, we were warned in the first reading that the man that took her life had already taken others' lives. So she warned me there are 3 women buried with her. And when I finally saw the spirits appear, there were 3 women, including her. I saw 3 spirits appear. So we're just waiting for the police to confirm that with ground penetrating. But there's an example. It is a puzzle. There's one of the pieces. It turned out true. We hope it is. We hope it is.
So where do you, okay, if you had 3 locations to guess, or to spirit-led, I should say, not guess. For us, it's not really guessing. I guess it's spirit-led.
Yeah. Well,
they are guessing.
Yeah.
No,
well, the funny thing is, I know that's where, I still say she's north. She's north. I keep
north.
Yeah.
Up in the mountains towards Mount Lemon.
Well, possibly. You know what's the interesting thing about Mount Lemon? The interesting thing is if you look at a lot of psychics who have their channel for Nancy Guthrie too, I can't believe how many women. I watched one tarot reader. I can't remember what her name was. She doesn't show her face. She only shows her hands. And I watched one of her readings on it, like where could Nancy be and what's going on with Nancy. What was incredible is every single card that she pulled that night on the questions that she was asking about Nancy, so many roses kept coming up. So there's a lot of people who feel that she's around Rose Canyon, but that area is highly rocky. Highly rocky. People think even when Linda went to Tanca Verde, is it Tanca Verde area? Is that the right place?
Yeah, but she didn't. Yeah, they just went down to the road. They didn't really go.
People from Arizona, like I even wondered if it's Reddington Pass, because in her visit, she showed me red for purpose, right? On purpose. So it made me even think maybe it's as simple as that. Is she at Reddington Pass? Because she showed me red. She wanted my attention on red. So I did wonder that, because of course I didn't know Arizona. And Reddington Pass would be connected to Tanque Verde. So I'd say that is still one of the areas that I would consider just on a fluke. Could it be Reddington? But I do know that my preference is to say, look anywhere that has red soil. She was really clear with me that she's in red earth, period. So we could go anywhere as long as we're looking for red earth is what I would suggest.
Okay. So when Linda and I were doing it, so we both saw, heard similar and then different, but I know Linda kept saying something about, Mandy, I'm hearing dogs bark. I'm hearing dogs bark. And then Linda brought up horse.
Yes.
And Linda kept bringing up purple. I said purple and yellow flowers on cactuses.
I do see sunflowers. Not all of, no, we're not in as far as Sedona though, because thank you very much. People suggesting areas because I don't even know Arizona well, but we're not going through Phoenix. We're not going to Mesa. We're not going anywhere. That's west, right? Nowhere west. I would say just north, not south. But okay, but again, as people have been giving me comments because of the red earth, because I see sunflowers, or a sunflower, I should say specifically. And I actually think it could even be connected to a building or an old sign. And where she was kept originally, I would agree that there are sounds you can hear as if people are just living. I could hear traffic. We saw a cat in the reading, so there could be pets on the ranch or the ranch style property. Like, even think that it still might